Ambassador Yuari walked through the metal doors of the huge space station. Her heart was beating fast, but she kept her face calm. Behind her, Dr. Park Jin and Captain Han Du followed quietly. They were the first humans to ever meet the Galactic Council. The main room was bigger than any building on Earth. 12 different alien species sat in special areas around a giant circle. Some looked like tall lizards with shiny scales. Others were made of what seemed like living crystal that made soft music when they moved. In one corner, floating balls of light danced in the air. "The human delegation arrives," said a voice that came from a strange machine. The creature speaking had 4 eyes and skin like metal. From the small planet in System 2847. Ari felt her team tense up beside her. The aliens were talking about Earth like it was nothing important. She had expected this, but it still hurt a little. "We welcome you to our council," the metal-skinned alien continued. "I am Speaker Vel of the Kethvari. We have watched your species for 50 of your years. You show promise, but you are still very young." Dr. Park Jin stepped forward and bowed. "We are honored to be here. We hope to learn from your wisdom." The crystal beings chimed softly, which their translator said meant laughter. "How polite," one of them said. "Like children trying to impress adults." Captain Han Du's jaw got tight, but Ari touched his arm gently. She had told her team this would happen. The aliens thought humans were babies compared to them. "We understand we have much to learn," Ari said with a smile. "But we also believe we might have something to offer." This made several aliens make sounds that meant surprise or doubt. The large lizard-like creatures hissed softly. The floating lights flickered. Speaker Vel tilted his strange head. "And what could a species that just learned to travel between stars possibly offer us?" Before Ari could answer, alarms started blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed everywhere. All the aliens began talking at once in their different languages. "Emergency session," Speaker Vel announced. "The Zephyrian and Moltheri representatives request immediate council attention." 2 groups of aliens moved to the center of the room. The Zephyrians looked like giant birds with sharp beaks and bright red feathers. The Moltheri were covered in thick fur and had 6 arms each. Both groups looked very angry. "They have violated our sacred territory," screeched the Zephyrian leader, his feathers standing up straight. "The mining operation on Kilos 4 breaks the treaty." The Moltheri leader roared back, showing sharp teeth. "That planet was ours first. Your people stole it 300 years ago." The argument got louder and more angry. Other aliens tried to calm them down, but nothing worked. Speaker Vel read from a long list of laws and treaties, but both sides kept shouting over him. Ari watched carefully. She could see that both groups were not just angry but scared and hurt. The Zephyrians kept touching small metal objects around their necks. The Moltheri kept looking at pictures of their families. "This is normal council procedure," Dr. Park Jin whispered to her. "They will argue for days, then vote, then argue more. The traditional mediation protocols are failing," Captain Han Du observed quietly. After 2 hours of shouting, Speaker Vel looked tired. "We will recess for 1 day to let emotions cool," he announced. "Wait," Ari said, standing up slowly. The entire room went quiet. All eyes and other kinds of alien side organs turned to her. "May I ask them both a question?" Speaker Vel's 4 eyes blinked in what might have been surprise. "You wish to participate in council mediation? But you have no training in our laws or procedures." "That might be exactly what we need," Ari said simply. The room buzzed with alien conversations. Some seemed curious, others annoyed. "Very well," Speaker Vel said finally. "But you have 5 minutes only." Ari walked to the center where both angry groups waited. She looked at the Zephyrian leader first. "That object around your neck," she said gently. "It looks important to you. What is it?" The bird-like alien touched the metal piece with one wing. "It contains the names of my ancestors who died defending our honor." Then she turned to the Moltheri leader. "And those pictures you keep looking at?" The furry alien's 6 arms moved nervously. "My cubs. They need the minerals from that planet to survive. Our world is running out of resources." Ari nodded slowly. "So this is not really about who owns the planet. You need to honor your ancestors and you need to save your children." Both leaders stared at her. The room was completely silent. "What if," Ari continued, "you work together? The Moltheri get the resources they need, and the Zephyrians get to build a memorial to their ancestors on the planet. Both groups become the guardians of something important." She paused, looking around the room. "Sometimes the best solution is not about who wins, but about what everyone actually needs." The Zephyrian and Moltheri leaders looked at each other for the first time without anger. Slowly they began to talk. Not shouting, just talking. 3 hours later, both species had signed an agreement for shared mining rights and a joint memorial project. The council chamber was buzzing with excited alien conversations. Speaker Vel approached Ari as her team prepared to leave. "That was most unusual," he said. "Your species may be more interesting than we first thought." Ari smiled. "We told you we might have something to offer." As they walked back to their ship, Captain Hondu shook his head in wonder. "Did we just solve a centuries-old problem in one afternoon?" Dr. Park Jean was already taking notes. "I think we just showed them what humans do best." "And what's that?" Ari asked. "We see people instead of just problems." 6 months had passed since the humans first arrived at the council station. Dr. Li Min sat in the bright white research lab, looking at screens full of data about human behavior. Across from him, his new research partner Velthara tapped the table with 4 metal fingers. "Your species makes no sense," Velthara said through the translation device. "According to our science, you should not exist." Min laughed softly. "We get that a lot, even from other humans." Velthara showed him charts and numbers on the big screen. "Look at this data. Every species in the galaxy has one main trait that helped them survive. The Kethvari developed pure logic. The Zephyrians became perfect warriors. The Crystal Collective shares one group mind." Min nodded, studying the colorful charts. Each alien species had clear, simple patterns in their brain scans and behavior tests. "But humans," Velthara continued, sounding frustrated, "you have pieces of everything. Logic, emotion, individual thinking, group cooperation, aggression, and peacemaking all mixed together. It should make you weak and confused." "Maybe that's exactly what makes us strong," Min suggested. Before Velthara could respond, emergency alarms started ringing throughout the station. Red lights flashed and announcement speakers crackled to life. "All council members report to the main chamber immediately," Speaker Vel's voice echoed through the halls. "We have a Code 7 crisis in the Kepler sector." Min followed Velthara to the council chamber, where chaos waited for them. Multiple alien species were talking at once, their voices mixing into a loud mess of different languages. "The situation is critical," Speaker Vel announced when the room finally got quiet. 3 different species are fighting over mining rights in the Kepler system. Their war is so intense that it might destroy the system's main star. A hologram appeared in the center of the room, showing a solar system with planets and spaceships. Bright red areas marked where fighting was happening. "If that star dies," continued Speaker Vel, "it will create a chain reaction. 7 other star systems could be destroyed. Billions of lives are at risk." The Crystal Collective chimed sadly. "Our group mind has calculated all possibilities. War is inevitable." The tall lizard-like Drakmor hissed in agreement. "The 3 species hate each other too much. Only total victory will satisfy them." "Logic suggests we evacuate all planets and let them fight," added a Kethvari representative. "It is the most practical solution." Min watched as each alien species offered their solutions. Every idea was based on their own way of thinking. The warriors wanted to fight. The logical ones wanted to abandon the system. The group mind species wanted to force everyone to think the same way. But none of them seemed to care about what the fighting species actually wanted or needed. Captain Kim Yu, who led the small human fleet, stood up slowly. She was young for a captain, but her calm voice made everyone listen. "Has anyone asked them why they're really fighting?" she said simply. The room went quiet. All the aliens stared at her. "What do you mean?" Speaker Vel asked. "I mean," Kim Yu continued, "maybe they're not fighting about mining rights at all. Maybe there's something else going on that we don't understand." The Kethvari representative made a sound like mechanical laughter. "Captain Kim Yu, we have complete files on this conflict. It began 47 years ago over mineral deposits. Files tell us what happened," Kim Yu said. "But they don't tell us why it keeps happening." Dr. Park Soo, another member of the human team, stepped forward. "On Earth, we learned that people often fight about one thing when they're really upset about something completely different." "Impossible," declared the Drakmor representative. "Conflict has clear causes and clear solutions." Kim Yu looked around the room at all the alien faces and sensors pointed at her. "What if we just go there and talk to them? Not to negotiate or threaten, but just to listen?" "Listen." The Crystal Collective's chiming sounded confused. "To what purpose?" "To understand what they actually need," Kim Yu said. Speaker Vel's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "This goes against all established council protocols for crisis management." "Maybe that's the problem," suggested Dr. Li Min from the back of the room. The council voted. It was close, but they agreed to let the humans try their unusual approach. Many aliens seemed curious about what would happen. Kim Yu's ship, along with Min and Park Soo, traveled to the Kepler system. Instead of bringing weapons or threatening the fighting species, they sent a simple message to all three groups. We're here to listen. We want to understand what you need. What they discovered surprised everyone. The three species weren't really fighting over minerals at all. The Valkyrie had lost their original home planet and needed a new place for their families. The Torgani were running out of food and needed the minerals to buy supplies from other systems. The Zelfari were being forced to fight by their government, but most of their soldiers just wanted to go home. None of these real problems could be solved by war. But they could be solved by cooperation. Min worked with each group separately, using human techniques he called empathy mapping. Instead of looking at the conflict, he looked at the people involved and what they were feeling. Park Soo discovered that all three species had skills the others needed. The Valkyrie were excellent farmers. The Torgani were master engineers. The Zulfari had the best medical knowledge in their region. Kim Yu proposed something that had never been tried before. Instead of fighting over the system, why not share it and share their skills too? 2 weeks later the war stopped. Not because anyone surrendered, but because they found something better than winning. They found partnership. When the human team returned to the council station, they brought representatives from all three species. The former enemies were working together on building new colonies and sharing resources. Velthara stared at Min with all four eyes. How did you know that would work? Min smiled. We didn't know. We just cared enough to find out what they really needed. Your empathy is not logical, Velthara said slowly. No, Min agreed. But it works. The emergency meeting started before dawn on the council station. Commander Shin Yu rushed through the metal corridors with her team, their boots making loud sounds on the floor. Something terrible had happened during the night. All council members must report immediately, Speaker Vel's voice echoed through the speakers. We face the greatest crisis in 10,000 years. When Shin Yu entered the main chamber, she saw something she had never seen before. Half the alien seats were empty. The Drakmor section was completely vacant. So were the seats for 6 other species. They are gone, Speaker Vel announced, his 4 eyes looking very sad. The Drakmor Empire has left the council. They have taken the Hegemony Coalition with them. Dr. Kim Bo, the human scientist, looked at the empty seats with worry. 7 species just left? Why would they do that? The Crystal Collective chimed with a dark, scary sound. They declared war on the council. They say we are weak and that the galaxy needs stronger leadership. A hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed a map of the galaxy with red areas spreading like fire across the outer regions. Ships with the Drakmor symbol were attacking planets and space stations. They have already taken 12 systems, reported the Kethvari representative, reading from a data pad. They enslave the populations and steal all resources. Traditional diplomatic contact has failed completely. Shin Yu studied the map carefully. The red areas were growing bigger every hour. How many people live in those systems? Approximately 40 billion beings, Speaker Vel answered quietly. The number hit everyone like a cold wave. 40 billion lives under threat. Our military analysis shows 3 possible responses, announced the tall Zephyrian general, his red feathers standing up straight. Full military attack, defensive positioning, or complete withdrawal to protect core systems. Logic suggests defensive positioning, added a Kethvari strategist. We calculate a 63% chance of survival if we protect our strongest worlds. The group mind recommends unity, chimed the Crystal Collective. All species must think and act as one to defeat this threat. Shin Yu listened to each alien species offer their solutions. Every idea followed the same pattern as always. The warriors wanted to fight. The logical ones wanted to calculate safety. The group mind wanted everyone to think the same way. But something felt wrong to her about all these approaches. What if we're looking at this backwards? She said, standing up slowly. The room turned to look at her. Many alien eyes and sensors focused on the young human commander. Explain your meaning, Speaker Vel requested. Everyone is talking about how to stop the Drakmor, Shin Yu continued. But no one is asking why they left in the first place. The Zephyrian general made a sharp sound with his beak. They left because they are greedy and want power. Maybe, Shin Yu said. But what if there's more to it than that? Dr. Yu Jan, another human team member, pulled up files on his data pad. I've been studying the Hegemony Coalition species for months. Look at this pattern. He shared his screen with the room. Charts and numbers appeared in the air. Every species that joined the coalition has the same problem. Yu-Jan explained. Their home systems are in trouble. Dying stars, used up resources, environmental disasters. They're not just attacking for fun. They're desperate. This information made the chamber go very quiet. Even the Crystal Collective stopped their soft chiming. You suggest they attack because they fear extinction? Speaker Vel asked. I think they attack because they think it's their only choice, Shinyu answered. The Zephyrian general flapped his wings angrily. It does not matter why they attack. They must be stopped with force. Force just makes desperate people more desperate, Dr. Parkme said from her seat. On Earth, we learned that scared people make the most dangerous enemies. Shinyu walked to the center of the room looking at the map of spreading red areas. What if instead of fighting the coalition we help the people they're trying to conquer? Help them how? Speaker Vel asked. By giving them what the coalition promises, Shinyu explained. Safety, resources, protection. But without the slavery and violence. Many aliens began talking at once. Some sounded interested, others confused, and some very worried. This is not standard military strategy, the Kethvari strategist stated. No, Shinyu agreed. It's human strategy. Over the next few days, Shinyu's fleet of human ships did something that shocked everyone. Instead of fighting the Hegemony Coalition, they went to the planets that were about to be attacked. They arrived before the coalition ships and offered help. On the planet Xeris 9, where mining had stopped working and people were starving, human ships brought food and new mining equipment. When coalition ships arrived expecting to find desperate people ready to surrender, they found healthy, well-fed communities who refused to join them. On the ice world of Keth Prime, where the star was cooling down and everyone was freezing, human engineers worked with local people to build thermal generators. The coalition arrived to find a planet that no longer needed saving. Dr. Lee Sun worked with refugee groups, helping them resettle safely instead of becoming coalition soldiers. Park Me organized medical aid for planets damaged by coalition attacks, showing people that the council cared about healing, not just winning. You are changing the rules of war, Speaker Vel told Shinyu during one of their regular meetings. We're not changing the rules, Shinyu replied, looking tired but determined. We're changing the reason for fighting. The strategy started working. Coalition ships began finding empty battle zones because there was no one left who wanted to fight. Some coalition species even started asking for help instead of offering conquest. But Shinyu knew this was just the beginning. The Drakmor Empire was still out there, still angry and still very dangerous. The real test was coming soon. They won't give up easily, she told her team as they prepared for what everyone knew would be the final confrontation. Then we'll have to show them something they've never seen before, Dr. Kimbo replied. What's that? That there's a better way to be strong. The war finally came to the council station itself. Colonel Wu Bo stood on the command deck of his ship, watching enemy vessels approach through the dark space around them. The Drakmor Empire had decided that talking was finished. Now they wanted to fight. Sir, we count 50 coalition ships heading straight for us, reported Lieutenant Choana from her control station. They'll be here in 20 minutes. Wu Bo looked at the mixed crew around him. Humans worked next to Kethvari, Zephyrians, and even some Crystal Collective members. This was the first time in galactic history that so many different species had fought together as one team. All ships, this is Colonel Wu Bo, he spoke into his communication device. Remember what we talked about. We're not here to destroy anyone. We're here to protect everyone. Through the main screen he could see the council station where millions of beings from dozens of species lived and worked. Behind them were the transport ships full of families running away from coalition attacks. Colonel, said Dr. Kang Yu, the human medical officer, the coalition ships are sending a message. The main screen changed to show a large Drakmor commander with dark green scales and glowing red eyes. His voice was deep and angry. Council weaklings, the commander growled, I am War Chief Thexuler of the Drakmor fleet. Surrender now and we will make your deaths quick. Wu Bo stepped forward so the enemy could see him clearly. War Chief Thexuler, I am Colonel Wu Bo. We don't want to fight you but we won't let you hurt innocent people. Thexuler's red eyes got brighter with anger. Humans, you think your soft words will save you? We will crush you like insects. The communication ended. Enemy ships started moving faster toward them. All teams, battle positions, Wu Bo ordered calmly. Remember, disable their weapons but don't destroy their ships. We want to save lives, not take them. What happened next surprised everyone watching. The human ships moved in patterns no one had ever seen before. Instead of trying to blow up enemy ships, they used special weapons that shut down engines and communication systems without killing anyone. Lieutenant Park Du, piloting a small fighter ship, flew between two large coalition vessels. His ship fired blue beams that made the enemy weapons stop working, but left the life support systems running perfectly. Enemy ship disabled, Park Du reported. All crew members are safe and healthy. On another part of the battlefield, Captain Song Min led a boarding team onto a coalition ship. But instead of fighting the crew, they brought medical supplies and food. "We know you're hungry," Song Min told the surprised enemy soldiers. "We know your families are suffering. You don't have to keep fighting for leaders who don't care about you." The coalition soldiers stared at her with confusion. They had expected battle, not kindness. Back on the command ship, Dr. Kong Yu was treating wounded soldiers from both sides in the same medical bay. A injured Drakmor warrior lay on a bed next to a hurt Kethvari officer. Both were getting the same careful treatment. "Why do you help your enemies?" the Drakmor warrior asked weakly. "Because you're not really our enemy," Dr. Kong Yu replied, checking the warrior's bandages. "You're just scared and fighting for the wrong reasons." The battle continued for 6 hours, but it was unlike any war the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships captured enemy vessels but immediately started giving medical aid to their crews. Human soldiers fought when they had to, but always tried to talk first. War Chief Thexuler found himself trapped when his main ship's weapons stopped working. He expected the humans to board his ship with guns and threats. Instead, Colonel Wu Bo came aboard with just 2 guards and a bag of food. "I brought lunch," Wu Bo said simply, sitting down across from the angry Drakmor commander. "Want to talk about why we're really fighting?" Thexuler was so surprised he forgot to be angry for a moment. "You came here to offer me food? Your soldiers told us that many coalition worlds are starving," Wu Bo explained, unpacking sandwiches and fruit. "If your people had enough to eat, would you still need to conquer other planets?" For the first time in years, Thexuler was quiet. His red eyes looked at the simple human food, then at Wu Bo's calm face. "You do not understand," Thexuler said finally. "My world is dying. Our sun grows cold. My people will be extinct in 50 years if we do not find new homes." "Then let's find you new homes," Wu Bo replied. "Without killing anyone." "Impossible," Thexuler hissed. "There is no empty space left in the galaxy." Wu Bo smiled. "That's where you're wrong. There are hundreds of empty planets that nobody wants because they need work to make them livable. What if we helped you build new worlds instead of stealing old ones?" The idea was so strange that Thexuler could not answer at first. Over the next 3 days, something amazing happened. Coalition soldiers started switching sides, not because they were forced to, but because they saw another way to help their families. Human engineering teams worked with former enemies to design new colonies. Human doctors treated coalition wounded alongside council soldiers. Dr. Yu-un, working in the refugee camps, watched Drakmor families and human children playing together. 6 months ago they were trying to kill each other, she told her assistant. "What changed?" the assistant asked. "They realized they all wanted the same things," Dr. Yu-un replied. "Safe homes, enough food, and a future for their children." War Chief Thexuler stood with Colonel Wu Bo on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Half of his fleet had already joined the council forces. "Your way of war makes no sense," Thexuler said, but his voice was not angry anymore. "You could have destroyed us completely." "Destroying you wouldn't have solved anything," Wu Bo replied. "Your people would still be hungry and scared. Someone else would have taken your place." Thexuler nodded slowly. "And now? Now we work together to make sure everyone has what they need." 5 years had passed since the end of the Coalition War. First speaker Uari walked through the halls of the new Peace Center, a massive space station built where the old council chambers used to be. Everything looked different now. The sterile white walls were gone, replaced by colorful art from dozens of different worlds. "The morning reports, first speaker," said her assistant, Jean So, handing her a data pad as they walked. Ari looked at the numbers with a smile. 15 new peace agreements this month. 3 new species asking to join the council. And only 2 minor conflicts, both solved without fighting. "The peacekeeping corps is working better than anyone expected," Jean So observed. They entered the main meeting room where representatives from 40 different species sat around a circular table. But this wasn't the old council chamber where everyone sat apart in their own sections. Now different species mixed together freely. A Kethvari sat next to a former Drakmor warrior. Crystal Collective members shared their space with Zephyrian diplomats. "Good morning, everyone," Ari said as she took her seat. "Let's begin with the Kepler Sector report." Commander Thexuler, the former Drakmor war chief, stood up to speak. His dark green scales had faded to a softer color over the years, and his red eyes no longer glowed with anger. "The new colony on Kepler-7 is ahead of schedule," he reported in a voice much calmer than before. "Human engineers and Drakmor builders completed the atmospheric processors yesterday. The first families will move in next week." Dr. Park Say, the human colony specialist, added more details. "We've had help from 6 different species on this project. The Velkari provided farming expertise. The Crystal Collective designed the power systems. Even the Torgani sent their best architects." This was normal now. Species that used to fight each other worked together on building new worlds instead of destroying old ones. "What about the dispute in the Omega region?" Ari asked. Captain Li Bo, who led one of the mixed-species peacekeeping teams, answered. "Solved yesterday without any violence. The mining problem between the Zulfari and the local colonists was really about water rights. Once we helped them dig deeper wells, everyone got what they needed." Ari nodded. It was always the same pattern. When conflicts happened now, peacekeeping teams didn't arrive with weapons. They arrived with questions, supplies, and most importantly, time to listen. "Any new species requesting council membership?" she asked. Jinso checked her notes. 3 this week. The Nara 6 from the Spiral Arm, the Kathari from Beyond the Rim, and surprisingly, the Valdrin Collective. The room buzzed with quiet conversations. The Valdrin had been enemies of the council for centuries. "The Valdrin message says they're tired of fighting," Jinso continued. "They want to learn the human way of solving problems." Dr. Choyu, the council's chief psychologist, smiled. 5 years ago, nobody knew what the human way meant. Now everyone wants to learn it. "What is the human way exactly?" asked Velthara, the Kethvari researcher who had worked with humans since first contact. Ari thought about this question carefully. People asked it often, but the answer was always hard to explain. "I think," she said slowly, "the human way is believing that everyone wants the same basic things. Safety for their families. Enough food to eat. A place to call home. Hope for tomorrow. But every species wants those things," pointed out a Crystal Collective representative. "Yes," Ari agreed. "But humans believe that if everyone gets what they really need, nobody has to fight for it." Former War Chief Thex Euler made a sound that might have been laughter. 5 years ago, I thought humans were weak because you cared about your enemies. Now I understand that caring made you stronger than all our weapons." After the meeting ended, Ari walked to her favorite place in the Peace Center, the Memorial Garden. It was a quiet space filled with plants from every member world, where people came to remember those lost in past wars. Captain Kim Do found her there, as he often did when the day's work was finished. "The reports look good," he said, sitting on a bench beside her. "Better than good," Ari replied. "Do you remember when we first arrived here? The aliens thought we were primitive children who had nothing to offer." Kim Do laughed softly. "Now they send their own children to study at human schools to learn empathy and conflict resolution." They sat quietly for a while, watching beings from different species tend the memorial plants together. A young Drakmor was teaching a Kethvari child how to plant flowers from earth. "Are we really guardians now?" Kim Do asked. Ari considered this. "Not the way the old council was. We're not protecting the galaxy by being stronger than everyone else. We're protecting it by helping everyone else be strong enough to protect themselves." A message alert interrupted her thoughts. Jin So's voice came through the communication device. "First speaker, we just received news from the Outer Rim. The hegemony remnants have asked for help with a food shortage on their remaining worlds." Ari and Kim Do looked at each other with knowing smiles. 3 years ago, these same people had been sworn enemies of the council. "Send the relief ships," Ari ordered. "And include some teachers. I think they're ready to learn about cooperation instead of conquest." As they walked back toward the main chambers, Kim Do shook his head in wonder. "Sometimes I can't believe how much has changed." "The galaxy was always full of good people," Ari replied. "They just needed someone to show them they didn't have to be afraid of each other." Above them, through the clear dome of the Peace Center, stars twinkled in the vast darkness of space. But the darkness didn't seem empty or scary anymore. It was full of worlds where former enemies were building new homes together, where children of different species learned to understand each other, and where peace grew stronger every day. The humans had indeed become guardians of galactic peace. Not through force or superior technology, but through something much more powerful. The simple belief that understanding was always stronger than fear.